objects are racing toward Mach 380 kilometers per hour.
They shouldn't have existed. Except birds don't fly in perfect formation, and birds definitely don't fly straight toward Russia's largest oil refinery. At exactly 52 kilometers from target, 27 kilometers from the S-400 battery, the lead beaver climbed sharply to 800 meters. The missile would need 27 seconds to reach them. But adding emergency power, the drones could reach the 2-kilometer dead zone in 41 seconds.
But adding emergency power, the drones could reach the 2-kilometer dead zone in 41 seconds. That gave the battery commander just 14 seconds to decide whether these were real threats or decoys. He fired. Two 48N6DM interceptors roared from their tubes, accelerating to Mach 6 in 3 seconds.
But watch what the drones do. They immediately dove back to 200 meters, vanishing below the radar horizon. Without that illumination, they're blind. The commander could only watch his screen in horror. His missiles were trying to predict where the targets went.
They detonated 80 meters above where the drones had been. Close enough that the 180-kilogram fragmentation warheads...
Now the refinery's last line of defense. Two Pancer S1 batteries had exactly 17 seconds to acquire and engage.
But the Pancer S1 RS-21E radar. The operators saw intermittent contacts flickering in and out.
By now, the lead beaver had already identified its target. The warhead struck at 3 versus 52 versus 17.
But this was just the first strike. 3 more beavers hit 3 more targets in sequence.
Within 90 seconds, the entire western section was an inferno, reaching 1,200 degrees Celsius. 470 kilometers away, 12 more drones were approaching their target. But this time, the Russians thought they were ready.
They weren't. While the drones were still impacting the previous target.
The battery commanders had studied Ukrainian tactics. These drones would never reach their target. Or so they thought.
Then the radar classification system screamed a priority alert that changed everything. Here's what was really happening. The climbing drones had deployed corner reflectors, triangular pieces of aluminum.
The lead battery commander had 2 seconds to decide. His engagement protocol was clear. Cruise missiles are
each accelerating to 1,300 meters per second. The missiles used command guidance for the first 18 kilometers, then switched to semi-active.
They were multiplying. 4 became 8. 8 became 16. Watch what's really happening here. $3 million in missiles were chasing aluminum foil that cost less than your morning coffee.
While everyone watched the fireworks at 1,500 meters, 8 UJ-22s had approached from
Traverse! Now!
The two A-38M guns opened fire, each barrel firing 2,500 rounds per minute. The computer calculated the lead angle.
Every 2 seconds, they executed what's called dynamic altitude variation, random changes between 40 and 80 meters. But with random altitude changes, prediction becomes probability. The hit probability dropped from 83 to straight into the solution was trapped in one drone's computer. The Krasuka's jamming made communication impossible, unless the Krasuka can't jam all frequencies simultaneously with equal power. On channel 847,
Tank 7 took the first hit at 4:20 a.m.
the Krasuka 4 crew watched the wall of fire advancing at 30 meters per second. They abandoned their $20 million vehicle and ran.
But the Ukrainians knew something the Russians didn't. Watch what the 8 UJ-22s are doing.
Each
each weave forces recalculation. The fire control computer models target motion using Kalman filtering, but Kalman filters assume consistent behavior. The missiles use three-stage guidance. Inertial for the first 2 seconds. Command guidance until 2 kilometers from
10 seconds until impact. The missiles were closing at 850 meters per second.
Pancer S1. The missiles tried to follow, but couldn't. The 9M338 uses aerodynamic control with 4 canards.
Except one. Its proximity fuse detected infrared signature above. The drone's 180-degree exhaust at 400 degrees Celsius.
Nobody saw what was approaching from the sea. 4 UJ-20.
But the ocean route meant 0 radar coverage. Ground-based radar can't see beyond the horizon. The first beaver struck Hangar 2's roof. The hangar didn't explode. It launched. It reached 50 meters altitude before gravity reclaimed it.
The base commander ordered emergency scramble, but the runway was obscured by smoke from the burned drone flames. Visibility 150 meters.
At 4:44 a.m., 2 modified UJ-26 Beavers reached Penza, 630 kilometers inside Russian territory.
Unknown to them, an Su-35 had been hunting for 20 minutes. The pilot was following close behind. His Urbis-E radar was in narrow beam mode.
The R-77s accelerated to Mach 4 using solid rocket motors. They would cover 18 kilometers in 13.2 seconds. They shouldn't have existed. .470. Had studied Ukrainian tactics. These drones would never reach their target. Or so they thought.
The two A-38M guns opened fire, each barrel firing 2,500 rounds per minute. The computer calculated the lead angle.
The longest shot was still to come. But this time, the drones would face something they couldn't outmaneuver.
At 4:44 a.m., 2 modified UJ-26 Beavers reached Penza, 630 kilometers.
One drone flew straight into the cannon stream and disintegrated 300 meters from impact. But 7 made it through. 3 of them found the target.